Wholeness, beautiful beings, welcome to Rashida Silvertree, my channel, my space, my place, my portal, my channel. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in. Wholeness to you all. Thank you to my subscribers. I just want to say thank you to those of you who find messages, they're resonating with you. This is just part of who I am. I'm not here necessarily for the views or for anything really. This is just my authentic voice, and you vibe with it. So thank you for listening and receiving the messages that come through. I'm not here to impress anyone. The older I get, I'm in my mid 30s now, and God willing, inshallah, I'll be 36 in the coming winter or fall winter. November is the in-between month, I guess, but it's just I'm becoming a lot more just unapologetic and just be yourself, and I think with social media you can do that. There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons with social media, but today's topic I want to get into the shadow elite. For those of you who've tuned into my minimalism videos, or the videos, there was one about I made about the Trump, or Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, and I mentioned Shadow Elite there. I mentioned Shadow Elite because that's finally a term that makes sense enough on how to describe this group. So who are they? I'm going to make a series on the Shadow Elite, and if this gets me shadow banned, I could care freaking less. I really don't care, because this is not real. This place isn't real. It's virtual, okay? So it's a hit or miss if it's successful or not. It's neither here nor there. But I will be making a series on the Shadow Elite and their hand and everything. So who are they? So shadow, where does that come from? Because my definition, we're going to get into occultism also a little bit in this video, because it deals with that. And so let's get into I'm breaking it down now. So shadow, why use the word shadow? Why not the black elite, or why not the dark elite, or evil elite? Shadow is the effect or lack of light, right? It's what, you're standing in the sun, and then you look down, and the light that can't penetrate through your physical body, it creates that space of darkness there behind you, or on the side of you, or in front of you, okay? And so, and this is going to get metaphysical, so bear with me. The name black, when you look it up, a lot of people associate it with evil, and which is so sad, because I come from my lineage of people, Afro, Negro, or Negro, they would call us in several decades ago, meaning black. And black is associated with evil or darkness, or a nasty or negative thing. I don't believe black is a nasty or negative or evil thing. Black is where dark matter exists in space. It holds the stars. Black, you have within the womb, right? A woman's womb, where it holds the child, the unborn child. Black is the color of where seeds are laid to germinate, to turn into crop. Black is the night that allows us to sleep, the dark. So black absorbs energy, right? Harmful energy, to be exact. Very harmful energy. You have your dark crystals like obsidian and black tourmaline or onyx, and it absorbs polarizing energy that can cause you harm on an energetic level. Black is it's called melanin. It's actually just melanin, but they call us black anyway. But it's the color of our skin, and we all have it. White people, black people, we all have melanin, degrees of it within our body, and we need it, right? In order, it gives us protection from a lot of the rays from the sun, to a certain extent. So the definition of how I see blackness or darkness isn't something that is evil at all. And it's so unfortunate that we have terms like, oh, his spirit was black, or he has a very black attitude, or oh, that black guy over there. Like it's just very derogatory. Shadow, the word shadow, it means to me is where light cannot penetrate. Right? It's almost like when light cannot penetrate the object, then you have the shadow behind it. And it's a very, to me, it can be nefarious. It has a very nefarious vibe to it, sneakiness, because you can move the object and then, oh, the shadow's gone, but it could still be there, right? When things lurk in the shadow, they're hiding from the light. And so that's why I use the word shadow, because the word elite, meaning cream of the crop, the supreme, the best, the competitor that wins all, the triumphant, top of the class, the A team, the ones who know, right? The ones who know, the special, they are the most affluent, the most abundant, the most resourceful, the most interconnected. So shadow elite, when you put shadow and you place it, because elite could be like, for example, the American Olympic team, gymnastics team. They're like everyone that's in France, Paris, France right now, they're an elite squad of athleticism. The best runners, the best tennis players, the best basketball, volleyball, gymnasts, what else? What other kind of sports? Cyclists. They are the cream of the crop, the best, highest performing physical. It's just, that's one of the reasons I love the Olympics, because you have that. You have people who've mastered their body and they push themselves even more. It's so invigorating watching some of the athletes. But when you put shadow elite, they work in secret. They work in secret. And they hold roles of power. If you really want to figure out where they are, well, let's just focus on who they are. So in all the history that I've read and spiritual experiences that I've had, and in my life, personal experiences and bumps, I've bumped into a few of them. They are, to me, humans who have made blood oaths with entities not of this realm. And it's primarily, their stronghold is of the bloodline. Blood magic, sacrifice, sacrificial practices. Something innocent and pure and of light must be sacrificed for their power to activate and to be focused in on and to be cultivated. That type of shadow energy. They are nefarious, and they can only destroy and destruct and deconstruct. They cannot build anything. They can only recycle, rinse, repeat. They lack creativity. They lack feminine energy. They are not of the dark feminine. They use the dark masculine to will their power, and they use the dark feminine to manipulate and to just destroy a lot of people, human beings, so that they can push through their agenda. They are the ones. So think of a CEO of a hospital and his or her boss. Okay, and then think of that boss of the CEO. So the boss's boss's boss. They are part of the shadow elite. Okay, let me break it down. Think of a state. I'll say Texas. And, in the US, you have a state. And then within the state, you have the regions. You have like North. I'm going to use Indiana, okay? Not going to use Texas. Indiana. So you have Northern Indiana, Eastern Indiana, Southern Indiana, Central Indiana. Okay? And within those regions, you have, counties. And within those counties, you have the cities and the townships, okay? This is how they rule. It's very hierarchical, very interconnected. If you try to look for them, you won't really know what to look for because you're focused in on the mainstream radical left politics. They rule both sides. They rule all sides. And they thrive off of chaos and they thrive off of division. So when you think of, like, let's say the healthcare system in the state of Indiana, and you have, I don't know the name of all the branches or how to say this, but you have, like, in a hospital, you have the CEO of the hospital. Then you have the CEO that controls, like, the healthcare system, like Beacon Healthcare System, right? You have the CEO of Beacon Healthcare System. Then you have the CEO who runs all the healthcare systems in that state. Then you have the CEO of all the healthcare systems within the Midwest, right? And then you have the CEO that runs all of the healthcare systems across the nation. That's how they work, but they work not just at the top, but at the very, 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 very bottom. And they use the people at the very, very bottom to do their grunt work. And they will say, okay, we're going to make you director, we're going to make you supervisor, we're going to make you director of, this region of the hospital, or this region, these units in the hospital. We're going to make you director under this CEO, okay? So that's kind of how they run. I hope I'm giving a good example. But just think of a CEO of a corporation and the boss's boss, the CEO's boss's boss. They are that high up. You won't hear them in the news. You will never see them. You won't even know their gender, if they're a woman or a man. You won't know that they exist, but they are very much there. They're the ones that make the certain phone calls, and they're the ones that when things go wrong within a corporation or their system or their organization, someone is the fall guy. Hence, what's happening in the Secret Service. The woman, the director of the Secret Service, she's the fall guy. Now, did she do some things that were wrong? Like, she had choices like all human beings do. She could have gone against whatever the plot was or agenda was, whatever. But she is the fall person. She's the front line. It's the person behind her you don't see is who made the decisions. That's the shadow elite that I'm talking about. The shadow elite will always have fall persons. They always have backup plans. They have a backup plan for the backup plan for the backup plan. They're really good at planning. They're really good at planning. They can plan things out for centuries. Possibly millennia. Not quite sure. But they plan things out to a T. All those celebrity marriages, all of the royal high-end marriages that you see are not just by accident. Divorces are not just by accident. It's the high profile, right? Not by accident. They also say that the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire is that a billionaire has a hired-in astrologer. They're very much into astrology. They're very much into, like I mentioned before, blood oath, sacrificial, dark art, witchcraft, practices. Everything is void of love. Okay, most of these people also, which is so heartbreaking because I find Christianity to be a very beautiful faith. Um, they'll go to church. They'll wear little crosses. Hmm. They're really good at donating too. They're really good at donating their money. Get the nice tax break, but they're also just to use it as a disguise. Please send $5 to help poor people in Palestine that are suffering. A little goes a long way. This is Ibrahim, and he's starving. And they're the one that perpetuated the whole political conflict. And they now want you to donate money so that they can save face and say, "Oh, look at how much I donated to help these, the war refugees in Palestine. Look what I did. Or look what I did in Israel. Or look what I did in Russia or Ukraine. Look at all the good things. Or in the Congo, because no one's talking about the Congo. Look what I'm doing in the Congo. Look, please send your money. I gave $80 million last year, $6 million, my foundation, yeah." But then they're the ones that are supporting the human trafficking. Oh, that might be a separate video on the human trafficking. Oh yeah, it goes deep. It goes deep. You remember that movie that came out? With he's a devout Catholic, John Cavill, The Cry of Freedom, and he's been blackballed from Hollywood since he made oh gosh, the Jesus Christ movie by Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson was like, "You do know that your career's over after you make this movie?" He's like, "Yep, I know." And he was so devout in his faith, went along with it, made the movie, and then he'll pop up from time to time in new films. But in this one, Cry for Freedom, I watched it. I went to the film. I made my ex go with me when we were together. In some weird way, he didn't seem like he was into the movie. I was. Because it was like they blocked this movie for I think almost 10 years. I have to laugh because otherwise I cry. I work with children who have been trafficked, so very close to my heart. Very close to my heart. So I went and I saw this movie. And you know how I know that they tried to block them? They blocked the director. The actors weren't getting paid that much, but they did it anyway because they believed in the message. I have a lot of respect for actors who do that, who take like a huge, payment cuts just to get the message through. No one wants to talk about the harm done to children ever. They never want to talk about it. They want to keep it a secret, like it's not happening right behind their doors in their backyard. Because a lot of the time in the Western world with human trafficking, it's happening in your neighborhood. Yeah. You think it's just in South Asia, in the poor third world countries. No, it's easier access for them, but really and truly it's happening right down in your suburban communities and you don't even realize it. Ask me how many times in the hospital where I worked where young women would tell me about it, and it's happening in this city where I live right now. It's a hub. This is who they are. Pay attention to your local politics. I didn't say participate. I said pay attention. I picked up on something. I lived in southern Indiana in a little ass town. Well, no, I mean, it was a small city, very small city, smaller than my hometown. And I worked in a government institution, public library. Many people don't know that, but it's a government institution. And they would hold what they called a Crackle Barrel, like a political, I don't know. It's my ignorance. I don't know all the names to everything when it comes to the political systems and whatnot. Sorry guys, I have a new piercing there. Shouldn't really be picking at it, but it itches. It's healing. So I would go to them. I had to go to them. I was, part of the administration there, and it was a really cool job. I liked the job, but I saw on the local level power structure. In order for the shadow elite to operate on a full mainstream level, they start in your local political environments. Pay attention. The mayor and your town and counties, where your money's going, where it's coming from. Yes, your tax dollars. Yes, I know. Why am I whispering? Because they work in the shadows. In the shadows, that's where they whisper. But it opened my eyes working and going to those events, seeing people who are running for office, seeing the frustration and anger and passion in neighborhood, in the community, Black, white, Hispanic, immigrant, legal, illegal, all kinds of people just showing up and expressing their concern in their communities, in their county, and how the local politicians would interact with them, how corrupt they would be, or how sincere, genuine they would be. It's in your local your local politics, people. Get off of Fox News and CNN. Jesus. Get off of there. That's how they're distracting you, because they like to work in the shadows. Ooh, look at Trump. Ooh, look at Harris. Ooh, look what she said. Look what she did. Ooh, look what Trump did. Look what side are you on? I'm not voting for her. I'm not voting for him. I'm not voting for anybody. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, they just shot another Black woman. The police. Distraction. They love distractions. But you'll never know who they are. They hide. One more thing before I end the video. Also, pay attention to the Freemasons in your community, because those are the major financial investments in your county and in your cities and towns. Those are the people who keep it running. Your major universities. I live in a place where there's two major employers, university and a healthcare system, and they employ thousands of people, even across from neighboring states. People who live they'll commute. It's a big deal. It brings in lots of money. But behind all that, because there's also a Freemason Lodge right next to a major hospital. Not where I live, but close to where I live. And a Freemason Lodge is right there. Right there. One time I was driving to a hospital to visit a loved one after a major surgery, and it was ominous. There was clouds of blackbirds swarming over the hospital. I mean, enormous. There had to be 300-400 blackbirds, and the sun was going down. And it's a major, hospitals are portals, churches are portals, schools are portals, libraries are portals. Any center where many public persons come together are portals, or energy portals, or they're hubs of energy, focused energy, purpose. Yeah. So that's the video. That's a little bit about who they are. I didn't get too deep into blood sacrifices because, YouTube, whatever. I don't care. But, keep it at least PG-13 rated, PG rated, or rated PG. But that's what they are. You'll never know. But you'll always, This is how you always know that they're active, the shadow elite. Patterns. Because like I have said, they cannot create something new. They can only repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. So, you know the recent shooting of that beautiful black woman who had mental illness? I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, she said. Bop, bop, bop. Where did we see that before? Where it was almost darkly poetic how all of that whole scenario unfolded is just so eerie. She could see something. People say mentally ill people are mentally ill, hallucinations, all that. I've worked in an institution for mentally ill people. I know about psychosis. When they're off their meds, when they're on their meds, when they're actively psychotic, when they're just chill or they're having a little episode, a flare up, if you will. So I know, I'm aware. Most aren't. They just label crazy. You're crazy. Which, okay, like it's true. But I don't like labeling mentally ill people crazy. I think that's really dismissive and really disrespectful. Because we're all a little crazy. So does that mean we're all mentally ill then? Like, I don't know. Anyway, so, but she saw something. He said, go pick up the boiling water, the pot of boiling water. Okay, put it down. Pick it up. And they knew just how all of that unfolded. Do you remember George Floyd? And the other one was Sasha Blair or Sonia Blair. It's rinse and repeat. Sacrifice. Now you can say, oh no, it was all circumstantial, Rashida. You know, it's just yet another racial hate crime. Yeah, they're using that. They're reusing that program to initiate their agenda. Yeah, you can say it's racially inflicted. Of course it was. Duh. That's not rocket science. But pay attention. I'm not saying participate. I'm not saying go out in the street and hold up signs for her. You know? That's what they want you to do. Keep your eyes there. Keep your energy there. Feed into CNN and Fox News and CNBC and all that. Feed into the internet and YouTube. Yeah. It's rinse and repeat. You can find them by events that seem repetitive. Like, didn't this happen before? When you catch yourself like connecting the dots, they're on full display. You just can't see them. You don't know their names. You'll never know their names. Ever. That's another powerful thing that they have, a powerful ability. They can hide really well. They can deceive really well. And those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, we know what's up. Freemasons, one last note on them. I have come across more Freemasons in my life. Met one female one, which is rare, and she got pretty high up there in the degrees. And then they stopped. They stopped for some weird reason. I wonder why. Because there's 33-degree masonry. I think it's the highest you can go. But I met one. She was 16 degrees. She was a priestess of some lineage in Hinduism. I'm not quite sure, but she was very powerful. She wanted to teach me, teach me things, but that wasn't the lesson I needed to learn with her. So I moved on. It was never an open invite. It was like she wanted me to seek her. She wanted me to seek her out and say, hey, will you teach me the ways or teach me what you know or something. I think that's what she was really waiting on, but she ended up moving to another state, and I ended up staying where I was at the time, and it just wasn't in the cards per se. But I met many Freemasons, and not like I was looking for them, okay? I wasn't. I don't know if it's a past life link or something in my energy. It could be all of that or none of that. I'm not sure, but I will say looks can be deceiving. The elite aren't always going to look like they live in the flashy cars. However, they do have bank. They have mucho money. Money is very important for them. It is crucial for them. I met one Freemason. He would travel to a certain place, certain times of the year. I'm like, oh, year? Because they're affiliated internationally too, by the way. Yeah, it goes deep, and my faith in the infinite and of Source is solid. So I don't have fear. I come across them, and then I've come across a baby one. He was young. His father was one. He was a student, college student, trying to figure life out. But he was already they're very active in the community. So you live in you can tell, in poor counties, that's like a play area for them. That's like where they have their drug pens, they have prostitution or human trafficking. Like they do the low level stuff to have that income coming in. But they don't really, they use poor counties in the states, kind of like maybe the hideout, or just, they use that as a resource as well. But I don't go out of my way to seek these people, but they are part of the shadow elite, yes. And they have a lot of money. But don't ever assume, because the one Freemason, he looked broke, sickly. Ugh, like he got gray smoke in his aura, in his EMF, in his magnetic field. He looked sickly. Just a broke, old, used up vehicle. Just didn't look put together. It was just, you wouldn't think. Some of them, I've met a couple where I was just like, whoa, like handsome, over 6 foot, 6'4", 6'5", and I just knew. I'm like, oh, you're one of, you're part of a clique. But that's all I got today. Let me know what you think. I can't be the only one. That's why I have no political affiliation. I don't affiliate myself with religion in the way that I should, but I can see things in a deeper way. I don't know all things. I don't think I manifested and incarnated in this life to know all. And with the shadow elite, they like to know. They like, the bloodline is important. Money is crucial. They're international. They hide in plain sight. And they repeat things like all get out. Like Hollywood, like I said in a previous video, they're done. Hollywood's freaking over. It's imploded on itself. And that's another thing with their downfall will be, is that they will implode themselves, where they can't hide as much anymore. But I'll make more videos about them and less on the politics, because they just use politics. They use like the COVID-19 thing. Do I have to go into that? I don't think I should. For my subscribers, either or you don't. Given I've worked very closely with doctors and nurses who were working during the time of COVID, because I was teaching, I was nannying during that. I was up in somebody's homestead, making sure I ate, because those food lines were no joke. I said, I'm eating today. So, I don't necessarily think that there's, I mean, sometimes some people are really proud of it, like, oh, I'm a Freemason, by the way. Girl, I don't give a shit. Some people are very discreet, and then you can see it on their cars. Like sometimes they'll wear the symbols, like they'll have like in their car, and so I'll keep like a kind of in the back of my mind, I keep count of how many I see sometimes when I'm driving, and you can tell like okay, there's networking and affluence in this space or in this part of the neighborhood or in that part of the city. Like it's something else when you begin to see it. Um, Anything else I need to share? All right, that's it. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you think.